Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I am Sierra.casher, and in this video South Carolina has done us well, y'all. It has done us so well. Like, I have found some of the most beautiful places to visit. The traffic, y'all, drives very, very slowly. Like, not everybody, but most of the people here, they have a, like, I don't have anywhere to go, I'm not rushing to get to where I gotta go attitude. Then look at the gorgeousness in the background. Like, this is a pond that I have been visiting. Before I even started recording, I was coming here sitting and reading, and I was really enjoying it. And I was like, you know, I need to come back here to actually record videos. And so I'm gonna take y'all on a little tour. Not tour, but I'm gonna share with y'all the vastness of this background, okay? So hold please. So this is the bench that you'll usually see me sitting at if you passed by. And if you look in that corner over there, you'll see a guy who is fishing. And oh my gosh, the beauty that God has graced us with, like truly. You'll see a house in the back over there. But look, y'all, and there is an alligator that visits from time to time that I enjoy seeing. But I just wanted to show y'all this and these are the cars and the traffic that you usually hear. So that was your tour. So now that we are back to me sitting here, you have an idea of what it looks like here. It is so beautiful. Like the browns, the greens. Like, I am a girl who loves nature, so because I love nature, this is just so good to me. I like the city but not city feel that I get when I'm here. I am thirsty, so I'm gonna drink a little water before we start. Have 3 books I want to talk to you about today, and I'm gonna tell you about my journey to reading these books. Before I don't think these books would have came into my life if I had not been going through what I was going through. So I'm going to give you a little bit of me before we talk about the books. One last thing. If you've been here sometime, you know, like, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to talk about other stuff in the middle of it. But if you are, cherries are in season, and that is something that I have been enjoying about South Carolina. I put some ice on my cherries to make them like a little bit more plumper than they are. Like more firm. Cherries are so good. So this cherry is not as red or deeply red as the other one. Again, they are such an enjoyable snack for summer. I love to take them. I have a trip coming up with my kids. We're gonna go to the beach. Y'all might get a little snippet of that. We're gonna go to the beach, and I'm gonna take some cherries with me, specifically because they're easy to put on ice and still be a good fruit. Unlike some fruits, like you can take apples to the beach, you can take oranges to the beach in a cooler. Apples, oranges, and cherries in a cooler, and you can have you a nice, delectable, I would say watermelon as well, but I don't know how watermelon sits up. But how it would do, you probably have to put it in a container and keep it in there. I think, yes, I would say. But these are really good snacks to take to the beach. So if you have, it is summertime, almost summertime, and it's feeling like summer. Listen, it's feeling like summer back in Florida. We went back home for a little bit, and oh my goodness, it is hot there. So having cool, healthier snacks for my kids when we go to like beach visits is something that's important to me. And so cherries are in season, and if you look at the prices, you can be able to tell that these 3 books. So 3, I'll tell you the authors. You may be able to guess these books. So Jackie Hill Perry is one of the authors, Priscilla Shirer is one of the authors, and Tabitha Brown is the 3rd author. Okay, so I'm not gonna tell you the books yet, but if you have guessed, you probably could guess what the books are. Jackie Hill Perry writes a lot of books, so it's no telling which one I'm going to tell y'all about. So what is this year? We are in year 2024. So it's been some time, and my sister, for those of you, most of you don't know this, so I'm just going to say it. I am 34 years old, and my sister passed away at 32. And this was in April. I am going to mess up the year. It's been about a year now since her passing, and I'm just gonna jump right in with y'all. It was a very sad time for me. And I am a woman of faith, I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. And I want to say that so that you'll be able to preface this video for if you want to stay or if you want to go. But I will say this, my faith was tested. My faith was tested. My faith has been tested ever since we found out that my sister was ill. My faith has been tested, but my faith really, the test really started, or like the testing of my faith, that breeze. Let's put my book back here, y'all. The testing of my faith started back when we found out that my sister was sick. And it was a very difficult time. And to say the least, I got into some very dark things. And I know that the entire time that God's hand was on me. And let me just dive a little deeper. So we found out that my sister was sick, and my husband made sure, he was like, Sierra, do not let this year go past without you going to see her. And so I'll put a picture over here of the flight or what have you. But I went, and this is an episode dedicated strictly to my sister. Her name is Vanessa Williams. I'm gonna dedicate this episode to her specifically because I haven't talked about this publicly anywhere. Like, I talked about it amongst my people in real life, but I haven't talked about this anywhere over the internet. I tried to talk about it on a podcast, and then I was like, nah, I don't think I'm ready yet. And so I took it down, all the things. So now I am ready to talk about it. Having a sister growing up was the most amazing thing. Mind you, I have brothers and sisters. And I have to count. So it's 6 of us. There's 6 of us, and I have a stepsister. And this particular sister, me and her had the same mom and the same dad. And I don't know what, put it in the comments if you know what that bond is. But to have the same set of parents was a very, very special thing to me. A very special thing to me. There was so many memories that because it was her and I for so many years. And so, like, until we had my baby sister, we're gonna call her AB. Until we had my baby sister AB, I really didn't know what sisterhood was, and I really didn't understand, like, to grow up and have a sister is to have a friend for life. Like, we've been through all the things you can think of together. We've been through the ups, we've been through the downs, we've been through, like, parenting journeys together, we've been through getting in trouble together, covering for each other. We've been through this one particular time, we were driving, and I think I was like picking her up from like her sisters, or like not her sisters, picking her up from her friend. And as the big sister, I picked her up from her friend's house, and I was driving really fast, and it started raining. So we started raining, and in this neighborhood there was like a lot of bumps and roads and stuff like this. And so as I bumped over this thing in the road, there was a cop there, and the cop pulled me over for speeding in the rain. And so when he pulled us over, it was raining. He was waiting on the rain to cool down. Me and my sister switched seats because I had just got a ticket. And as the oldest, my parents were like, well, Sierra, you get another ticket, y'all won't be able to drive. And she didn't have her driver's license or her permit at the time. And so because of that, she was working on her permit, but because of that, I was the designated driver. And so I was the one who getting us everywhere. So what ended up happening is the police officer doesn't know this now, and this was years and years ago, so sir, you can't do nothing. But we switched seats, and she was able to get the ticket for me, and I was able to go scotch-free. We talked about it in the car, and we laughed about it for years and years to come. But that was one of those bonding moments for her and I that was like, girl, you gotta slow down, but I feel like to this day, like I know that she switched with me because she was like, I gotta go to my friend's thing, and I got a birthday party to go to this weekend. I want to say the birthday party was like the skating rink or something, and so she needed me to drive her there that weekend, and so switching seats with me was one of those things. And so there was memories like that. There was times like I would like sneak in the closet wearing her clothes to school. There was times where like she didn't want to eat her food, and I would eat her food, like the things that I like, the vegetables, so she would let me eat the vegetables. There were so many memories that me and her had, and grief was really hitting me. there were times where I would think like, oh, she's gonna get better. And to be completely honest, I thought my sister was gonna get better. I thought her health was gonna rise. I thought that, I prayed and I asked God, and I'm like, okay, God, I'm over here speaking in tongues, hoping my sister's gonna get well. I'm testifying, and I'm telling testifying. I was like talking to my mom, texting my mom and saying, hey mom, like she's gonna live, she is not gonna die, like this is gonna be her story, like this part of her story is just a part, this is a testimony for her to talk about her story later in life. And I would go on, and only for her to not get better, for her health to even get worse than it was. And I say all of this to say, for someone who may be dealing with this, like your faith is being tested. I am sharing this for the sake of telling you, like if you're watching this video and you have someone in your family that's sick right now, listen, your faith is being tested. Still stay, like God always promises that he is going to be with us. He doesn't promise that the healing is going to look the way that we think in our minds. We just never know. And I think if it was my choice, I would have my sister here with me today. Like she would be so proud of me getting my hair this color, getting my hair braided. Like these are things that she did. She was way, like, let's say the greatest memories I have is like her just being like, she was the little sister. She was younger than me by 6 months, but my sister was the big sister, okay? Like she was the one that was gonna come for, and I'm doing this because she was a fighter until she had her first child, her first daughter. And I say her first daughter, her only daughter, until she had her first child though. She was real, like, you ain't gonna step on me. You not gonna. And I was the one that, I am still the one that's a little soft spoken. I'm a little feisty now, but I wasn't back then. She would find that to be very funny. She was the person I would send all my funny videos to. Like we had certain things that we would laugh about. Like even if I tell y'all one of the things we would laugh about, if we ever went in like a really like a really affordable store, I would say like a Dollar Tree or the dollar store, and there was something opened in there and whatever was in the package is not in the package anymore, me and her would bust out laughing. I don't know what, I feel like what we were really laughing at is the fact that you came in the dollar store and you stole something. Now that sounds very petty to y'all probably. I don't know what that sounds like to you, but to me and her, it was the funniest things ever. Like it was the smallest things that we would laugh about. Sometimes we could look at each other and we can laugh just off the strength of just laughing. It would be times where there was one time, and she probably would be like, girl, why you telling the internet this? But there's this one time that she had gotten her hair cut. And when she got her hair cut, it did not look the way that she wanted to look. And my sister was not a big crier. Like she cried, but she was not like I was the crybaby. She was not. As the oldest sister, listen, you could hurt my feelings easily. She had a much more tougher skin than I did. When they cut her hair, she was like, I didn't tell her to chop it off, mama. Like I told her to cut it, and this lady then chopped off all of my hair. So my sister was highly, 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 highly upset about it, and she cried about it. And then we came up with jokes and we laughed. We ended up going to the club still because we used to go to the club together. And this was in our younger years. You could not find me. The only clubs you can find me in now is a book club, okay? But anyways, so we had so much fun together. And one of my sister's favorite spots to go was to the beach. Like she loved. I don't know if I'll put the picture up, but she took plenty of pictures at the beach. She took her daughter to the beach. When she had her son, they would go to the beach. Like that was her spot. And when she passed away, and when she was getting sick, I was like, I can't stay in our hometown. I'm originally from Mobile, Alabama. And I was like, I can't stay here. Like, I cannot. There's so many, like, we would pass by the park and I would have memories of us going to the park. It was this one time, my dad said something so funny when he pulled up on my sister, didn't know she was at the park, but went up there and he was just like, busted. And me and her laughed just because she didn't know my dad was going to show up. But I'm gonna stop telling y'all all of our memories because I want to keep some for myself. But I'm sharing those to say, like, if you are a person who has lost someone within, I don't know, the last few days or the last few weeks, the last 3 years, like anybody who has lost anyone, like I want you to know, like, think on those memories. I have a friend who really helped me out with this. Think on those memories, the beautiful, fun memories that y'all had together. Like, that's what you still have of that person. And think of the time of the great times that y'all had together, the things that y'all did together. I never, ever, I thought me and my sister were invincible. If anything, I thought I would go first before she did. And that is something that I have dealt with in therapy, but so we're not going to discuss it on here. But I will say, like, there's a lot of things that you're dealing with if you've lost someone. And even if somebody has been passed away for 20 years now, there's still things there. You know what I mean? And there's beautiful memories that you can pull from that as well. And I want you to know, like, you can get through it, and you will get through it. And it's not to say you have to get over it. I said you can get through it. That means that you'll be able to find coping mechanisms. You'll be able to, if you go to a therapist, you can talk to your therapist. Like, there's so many things that you can do to get through it. And it's not something that you have to rush. Don't let anybody rush you into your process or through your process, or to get over the person. You can do it your way. I found a lot of solace or peace in creating and talking to my friends, talking to my family. And like I said, this particular friend, her mom had passed away when she was like 4 or 5. And the way that she was dealing with her grief was every time she was like, as the years go on, Sierra, like, people, and I know this is a God-sent friend because she has been an angel in my life, a literal angel in my life, to help me to realize, like, Sierra, hold on to the beautiful memories that y'all had. You had all of these years with your sister, and you don't never know what time the person is going to go. So take that time seriousso. Take that time very, very, I say seriously, but take inventory of that time. And so I did. And so if I would have a grief day, or a day, and I say grief day, if I would have a moment of like a day where, like, her birthday, a special day that we did something together, or I have random days where, if you have seen Kev on stage, then you will know what I'm talking about. If you've seen this reel, is it real? This short on YouTube. He said, like, he would be just brushing his teeth one day, and he was like, oh my goodness, do you remember you and your brother used to brush your teeth? This is grief talking to you. And it's like, yeah, y'all used to brush your teeth together, but you can't brush them together no more because your brother has passed away. And for me, and he would go on and on and on about these things he used to do with his brother, and how they used to be together, and how they used to do things together. And he was like saying, like, but you can't do it no more because your brother has passed away. And I think the beautiful thing about that is just having memories with people. And when grief steps in like that, it is tough. And I would have those days consistently for and I would say for years, but for months at a time. She passed away in April, and then not this year, but last year. And she passed away in the month of April. And it would be exactly what he was describing, and maybe I'll insert a clip of it here so you can see what I'm talking about. But it would be times where I feel like I was being antagonized, where it was so hard to think of the memories as a beautiful thing, because I'm like, I no longer have time to make memories anymore. I no longer have time to create new memories, is what I'm trying to say. And so I had to lean on those old memories. And the way that this friend was able to step in for me is that when I would have those days, she would ask me, and it's so ironic, and God is so good that this friend actually went to high school with us and graduated in the same class that we did. And now we're just like, and it's crazy because she lives like 10 minutes away from where we used to live in Mobile, and now we're just meeting, and I don't even live there anymore. So it was so many meticulous things. I want to say to you here that there are people that God will put in place, and I'll just say there are people that are put in place who are going to help you on your journey, that are strategically placed there. This is the journey. Like, losing someone is not easy. Anybody's, I don't care who has lost someone and is dealing with it great, or what you perceive as great, you don't sleep with them. You know what I mean? And if it is your husband, if it is your spouse, if it is your partner has lost someone and they seem to be doing well, you are not in their minds. You don't know what they think about unless they share it with you. So I want to say, like, it's not easy, but it is something that we can process and deal with. I said all of that to introduce y'all to these books. So these 3 books, and I'm going to talk about the first book because I've read this book 3 times, and this is the first time that I've ever been able to finish it. So my faith was being tested on this new journey of learning to live without my youngest, my sister, learning to live without my sister, and learning to continue to live. And I was struggling, y'all. Like I said, my faith was being tested, and one day this book just came in my mind, and I was just like, I've read that book before. And me and my family had been here in South Carolina. It was like we've been here for almost half the year. And I was like, why do I keep thinking about this book? And I was like, I've got it at home, but we weren't home. So I went to the store to get this book at Books A Million because they said they had one. And when I looked it up online, so I went there to get the book. Oh, the sun is shining. So the lighting is going to kind of start acting weird, y'all. But I went to Barnes & Noble to get this book. And let me just tell you what the book is. This is the book. Fervent by Priscilla Shirer. It is a woman's battle plan for serious, specific, and strategic prayer. I would not start this book until like February of this year. And this book is really great, like, for prayer. This has been a book, like, before I could read the Bible again, before I could start to like my faith would start to get to a steady place. Instead of waving like this, it would get to a steady place. I would be reading this book. And I remember texting one of my friends, and she was like, oh my goodness, I really hope that book is going to be helpful for you. It sounds like something that you may need right now. So what got me to even get to this book is probably the prayers of my friends. The prayers of my friends, the prayers of my family, the people around me. I think that God just used that as a way to say, hey, Sierra, pick up this book. You are enjoying reading again. Because that was something that I couldn't do when my sister was sick and trying to keep going. I did not know how to, like, my mind would not retain information. And so because it was hard to retain information, I was reading like very small books. And maybe I'll do another video where I tell y'all about the books that I was reading. I would go to the library and get like 5 books. And I say this in another video. I would go to the library and get like 5 books, but I could not retain the information in the books. There is a guy watching me, y'all, from the distance. Eventually I might turn my camera over there, but he is watching me and he's fishing, and it's a little bit weird. I have to say that in this moment, I may cut it out of the video, I may not, but I'm going to keep going. There will be times where I would go to the library and I would pick up like 5 to 6 books, and I wouldn't read even one fully. Now I would read probably about 10 to 15 pages, but then I would put it down. So, but this book, Fervent, is prayers. It's like, and I was able to start to crawl my way out of this dark hole that I had placed myself in. Yes, things had happened, but I promise y'all, like, I had gotten into all kinds of stuff that God was not pleased with. I had really just not wanted to believe God anymore. I'm like, because let me just be honest with you. So if you've ever thought this and you've lost somebody, you're not alone. But I was like, look, God, I could have fit, like, some of these people that live 50, 60 years in my family, or somebody else in somebody else's family. I could have found somebody else for you to take, because my sister, I wanted her to stay. And so I was like, God, you could have picked somebody else. Why you picked her up? However, I have reconciled with it as of now, and my prayers in this book. And so my book is marked up. My prayers were written in a journal. I'll show y'all my journal. This is my 2024 journal. And so my prayers are here. My prayers are in here. I've written them out. I'll show y'all one. Matter of fact. So let's see. Maybe I'll just show you without reading everything. But this is like prayer. And yeah. So, and my handwriting is just chicken scratch, because at this point I just was trying to get out of the dark hole. So if you're a person who just wants to get back to praying, or you just want to start believing God again, or you want to figure out why is fear captivating you, because there's a prayer for fear in here. I'll tell you what the prayers are about. Here are the 10 strategies of prayer that are in this book. Okay, it says 10. Okay, strategy 1 is passion. Strategy 2 is your focus. Strategy 3 is your identity, your family, your past, your fears. Is strategy 6. 7 is your purity. 8 is your pressures. 9 is your hurts, and 10 is your relationships. And so there's 10 prayer strategies in this book. It's a really great read. It doesn't read like it reads like a book. Oop, there was a fly. It reads like a book, but it also is strategy. So there's something for you to read, and then there's an action step for you to take as well. But I think this book, is amazing in the sense of how she writes, how the enemy can get into our minds and make us think one way that is not true, and we start to believe what it is. So here is the strategy 4. I'm going to read you If I Were Your Enemy. I'm going to read that part to you, and then I'm going to move on to the next book. And I read this because this was one that was very helpful to me because of the loss of my sister, and I realized like this was what the enemy was doing. And I was like, okay, Priscilla, you've been in your prayer closet, man, because this is so true. All right, my foot is alive again. Okay, here we go. So your family, fortifying the lives of those you love. So if I were your enemy, I'd seek to disintegrate your family and destroy every member of it. I want to tear away at your trust and unity and turn everyone's love inward on themselves. I would make sure your family didn't look anything like it's supposed to, because then people would look at your Christian marriage, your Christian kids, and you're no different, no stronger than anybody else. That God, no stronger than anyone else, that God underneath it all really doesn't change anything. And I say that, I am sharing that because I want you to listen to what I said and to think about it. Like, this is the thought process of the enemy for our families. And this was a very helpful thing. And she goes into more depth of what she's talking about in here, about but I guess the mind of the enemy, but then also the mind of Christ. So that was very, very helpful to me. Now, let's move on to book number 2. All right, and I'm gonna save that one for last. So this book was written by a author who I deeply enjoy her writing. I really enjoy her writing style, especially because she just seems she is very poetic in her writing style, but she doesn't just stay at the surface. And I'm not a surface girl. Like, I want to go deeper. I like to know why trees grow the way that they do. I like to know, like, oh, the trees don't actually start growing like what we see above the surface. There's more. Like, that is how my mind works. And so when I read her writing, I love that she makes me think and gives me something to think about that I haven't thought about or considered that I haven't considered. And that author is Jackie Hill Perry. I do not have the cover on her book, and this is a stain of some sort. So this is a 60-day devotional, and I'm on day 49, and so that lets you know how much I have left. This book has helped me to pull myself out of my grief hole. And I say that because I was able to start to build my faith again in God, and I was able to, with this book, able to do something that was like because this is what one night I had a panic attack, and I did not know this at the time, but once I went to therapy and once I talked to my therapist and we were able to like digest some stuff, I had to get like evaluated and stuff, and she let me know, like, Sierra, you've been having panic attacks. And so that led to a diagnosis and everything, and you'll hear about that at some point. But for now, I'll just say that I was like, what's happening? And long story short, she knew about the passing of my sister because I was in therapy at the time. And it was very helpful because helpful to get the diagnosis and to get the understanding of where my grief was like sitting in my body and sitting in my mind and just expressing itself through me. And reading this book was like, God told me, I just need you to move 1 inch a day. Just like move the needle a little bit, like 1 inch a day. Just 1 inch, Sierra. That's all I need from you. And so this was a part of my 1 inch. But another book that I have was a part of that 1 inch as well. And I'll talk about that one next. But this was a part of my 1 inch. And so as you can see, like I said, I've read to page 40. I've read to day 49. I had just 1 page a day. That's it. And I did not choose what I was going to read about because she already had it laid out. I didn't have to think about it. I just needed to wake up out of the bed, get me something to drink, put my phone somewhere, and read that 1 page a day. Just 1 page a day. And it was very, very helpful to get me to start to where I am today, which is back to reading my Bible. Now, it would take time for me to get back to reading my Bible. However, this was my unction each day. And there were certain things that she would talk about in this devotional that was like, I need to go read this in my Bible. Or like, okay, so this is day 30. If there is among you anyone in need, a member of your community in any of your towns within the land that the Lord your God is giving you, do not be hard-hearted or tight-fisted towards your needy neighbor. You should rather open your hand, willingly lending enough to meet the need, whatever it may be. Deuteronomy 15:7-8 NRSV. So it would be like a scripture or something here, and then she goes into it. I'll read you a little bit of my highlights, and then I'm gonna move on to the next book. So if you ever despise being needed by people, children, friends, spouses, ministry, responsibilities, or whatever, remember God. On earth he was in heaven. On earth he was, and in heaven he is always needed by somebody. We need him to live and move and have our being. As fruitful as we might be in whatever mission we find ourselves commissioned to, the growth belongs to someone transcendent of us. Apart from me, you can do nothing. John 15:5. That's something else I highlighted. The last thing I underlined and highlighted is, so a part of embracing the fact that you are needed in whatever space you've been called is identifying your own need for compassion. Once you receive it, then you can give it. So this book reads that way. It's really, really good. It gets you to think. It is a great way to replace screen time in the morning with reading in the morning. The very last book, and I'm going to do this one really quickly just because you just have to go grab it. I don't have her sleeve on it. My friend texted me one day and she was like, we were talking about something. She's like, this is super random, but are you a sleeve girl or a no sleeve girl? And I was like, I'm a no sleeve girl. Like, I prefer books that, like, if you have a sleeve on your book, I'm going to take it off. Like, I just prefer to not deal with the ratchetness of it, like the noise of it, the feel of it. I just want the book. So this is the book by Tabitha Brown. It is called I Did a New Thing. This was another really good help in me getting out of my grief hole, if you will, because I was starting to feel like myself again, starting to feel brand new again. And this was helpful to me, and I'm not done with this one either, because these are books that I pick up. Like this book, I don't remember what day. I'm on day 13 in this book because my little bookmark is here. I'm on day 13 in this book. So these are books that I reference often. This book is a book I reference often. Like I'll just pick it up, and I'm catching up to doing the new things in here. So basically, this is a book where Tab did something new for like 30 days, and then she shares what she learned from it, how the things made her feel, and then she also shares some stuff from like what she calls her cousins, because her content she refers to us as family. So her cousins, she'll get inserts from them as well. And then at the end of the chapters, there's like a tab, like TSA, Tabitha Service Announcement. This is a really cute book to read, a really thoughtful book that she wrote, and it really helps you to think about doing something new. And because this is new in my life, losing someone has been new to me, I need to do new things. I need to have a new perspective. I need God to renew my mind in particular areas. So this book has been very, very, very pivotal, which is also why my hair is this color. I wanted to try a new hairstyle. And so me and my friend, we would talk to each other and we would be like, girl, you recognize you did a new thing today. And it was totally inspired by me reading this book. There are different things and activities that she gives you to do. She's like, hey, won't you try to do this new? Won't you try to do this new? And there will be different things that she would suggest. Now, some of them I done. One of them, I did my nails a new way. Now, that was inspired by this book as well. I had gotten some nails from Target. They were like, I don't know. They were like an almond shape, and they were blue, like this color of this shirt, a little bit lighter than this shirt. And I wore them probably for like a day. And I'll put a picture over here so that y'all can see them. They were cute, but I was just telling my friend the other day, I do not like the feel of fake nails. I don't like that I can't feel like if I need to scratch, I don't like the way it feels to scratch my legs or to scratch my head, anything, or if I need to touch something, I don't like the way that the nails do. So we're gonna figure out something else for the nails. But those particular nails I did not enjoy. But just because you try a new thing don't mean you have to like the new thing. And that is what this book really did for me. Helped me to see, like, just because I try something new doesn't mean I'm gonna like it, doesn't mean I'm gonna love it. And that's okay. I tried something new. So that was one of the things I did from this book that was new. I think what I'm doing here on YouTube is new. Like, I used to do a booktube or like a book chat on my YouTube before, but I wasn't outside doing them. And this is new. Me recording outside, me interacting with people and seeing people watch me. All of that is new, inspired by this book. So this book is, if you want to try a new thing, get Tabitha Brown's book, I Did a New Thing. If you are wanting to replace your screen time in the morning time from scrolling to reading and doing a devotional, then Jackie Hill Perry's book called Upon Waking upon waking, you want to get this book for that. And if you're like, hey, I am a woman, I think men can pray these prayers as well. However, she specifically wrote this and targeted women. If you're trying to get back into praying and you want to know a little bit into the enemy's mind and like what he may be trying to get you to believe that is not true, and you want to make a strategy for those particular areas, then you want to grab Priscilla Shirer's Fervent. And that is it for this video.